In a landmark decision on May 19, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court handed President Donald Trump and his allies a major legal victory by allowing the revocation of temporary protected status, TPS, for Venezuelan nationals. The ruling effectively greenlights the termination of protections for over 350,000 Venezuelans who have been living and working legally in the United States. Under the humanitarian program, TPS was originally granted to Venezuelans in 2021 amid escalating political turmoil, human rights violations, and economic collapse in their home country. The program offered temporary legal status and work permits to those already residing in the U.S., shielding them from deportation while Venezuela remained unsafe. The Biden administration extended and redesignated TPS for Venezuelans in subsequent years. However, the Trump-aligned legal challenge argued that conditions in Venezuela no longer warranted continued protections and claimed that the executive branch had overstepped its authority. The Supreme Court's decision lifts a lower court injunction that had stalled the Trump administration's attempt to terminate the program. With that block removed, the administration can now proceed with its efforts to wind down TPS protections for Venezuelans, pending the outcome of ongoing litigation in lower courts. Advocates warn that tens of thousands of people who have built lives, started families, and contributed to communities in the U.S. may soon face deportation. This ruling may have ripple effects for other TPS-designated countries, particularly Haiti, with approximately 520,000 Haitians currently protected under TPS, many of them residing in Florida and New York. The concern is growing that they could be next. The Trump administration has previously attempted to revoke TPS for Haitians, citing improvements in the country, despite persistent political instability, poverty, and the aftermath of devastating natural disasters. Legal challenges are already in motion to contest any efforts to terminate TPS for Haiti and other nations like El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Sudan. Immigration advocates argue that the move is both legally questionable and morally unjust, especially considering the continued unrest in many of these countries. They point out that TPS recipients have deep roots in the United States, including US-born children, long-term employment, and strong community ties. Critics of the court's ruling fear it sets a precedent that gives the executive branch sweeping authority to end humanitarian protections without adequate oversight or consideration of current conditions in affected countries. Proponents, on the other hand, argue that TPS was never intended to provide permanent residency and should be re-evaluated regularly. As the 2024 election season's aftershocks continue to reshape U.S. immigration policy, this Supreme Court decision underscores the stark difference between the Biden and Trump camps on issues of migration, humanitarian relief, and foreign policy. With legal battles ongoing and administrative actions looming, the fate of thousands of immigrants from vulnerable nations hangs in the balance.